Yes, yes, yes. It is time. I didn't want to make a video like this. I really don't because this is so stupid. This is so dumb and so incredibly annoying to have to make a video like this, to have to talk about people like this, to have to prove these people wrong like a male should when obviously something is wrong and they know it. But it shouldn't need to be done. This should not need to be proven wrong because it should not be something that is wrong. You should not be having to talk about these types of things and have to have a conversation about this. And the reason you do have to have a conversation is obviously because something is wrong with males. And it's not because of males, it's because of society. It's not because males are wrong, it's because of society. And it's quite obvious because things have changed. Do you not understand that there's consequences to those changes? Because they were not correct, they were not perfect, so they have consequences? Do you not understand that? It's I was about to play World Tanks. I was about to actually go. I wanted to come on. I wanted to watch this video again because I wanted to talk about some things. I don't think I'm going to say literally everything. Well, I will make a long video now, but I'm not going to say literally everything in one go. So I'll simply have to watch this video to talk about it. It always interests me to think about stuff like this because not stuff like what I'm showing you here, but actually talking about it now. It always interests me to think about talking about this type of stuff and saying what is correct and doing what is correct and trying to inform other people about what is correct. Because I don't want to need to do this or to feel like I should because of the fact that it does affect me. And this absolutely does affect me. I'm trying a new water. Distilled water. Great value distilled water. To try to remove all that chlorine. I was drinking Aquafina before, and I was drinking it because it was seemingly the most clean water you could get. But I didn't know that distilled water could actually be cleaner. And it seems that it is. That's another topic, another thing. Males in society. Oh, but there's chlorine in the water. Oh, don't worry about that. That's unrelated. Well, I forgot to tell you, there's actually chlorine in the water and you're drinking it constantly. And also you're washing your hands with it and you're also showering in it. That's unrelated though. Oh yeah, not only that, but you're actually going to school and getting taught to listen when males are actually meant to learn and then be the one to improve instead, not to simply listen to other people like you're being taught in school. Oh yeah, so that's another thing, but that's unrelated. That's actually unrelated. So I shouldn't even be talking about that. Oops. That's unrelated. Completely doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm being sarcastic, obviously. It does matter. I have a little thing I wrote on my notes. Men are not being treated with care and respect. Females act as if we need to do that for them, yet none of them do it for us. As soon as we make a mistake or do something wrong, they instantly assume less of us. They assume we are less valuable and act like that too. And not only that, but they act too confident and think they understand more than they do, and that leads to countless misunderstandings and mistakes they justify. I'm not saying every female, but there's a lot, and there's too many actually, way too many females. And if I would say the percentage, I would say 85%, because of the fact that it's normalized. A lot of females are being taught to be like this from their mothers. Their mothers are mentally ill. They're mentally ill because they're not actually being what is correct, and they're learning to be like that, and then they're teaching their daughters how to be like that. And the men are too submissive to understand and do better. And they're letting the females simply do this and take control of everything. When I say take control of everything, I don't mean everything, but take control of too much and affect them too much, while the females are barely doing anything for men except existing and looking pretty, and that's it. Of course, there's things to consider, and saying there's females that do jobs and everything like that. I understand that. I do understand that. There's females that earn money. I understand that. But it doesn't mean that they should. It doesn't mean that they should. When a female gets money and a female does a job that makes it easier for them to survive and thrive, you're taking away a male's opportunity to do that for them. And the fact is, if a male cannot do that to a female, then what else? What else is there? And that's exactly what a lot of males are struggling with today, is because they've been taught in school that the only thing is important is finding a job and learning these things and doing what is correct, and getting this amount of money to support yourself and that female. But when that female is already being supported by themselves, yeah, it's supposedly like we're equal. We're equal, and that female can do whatever she wants, and it's okay. And I am going to talk for a bit about this because there's a lot of things to think about. And no, I don't think I'm using the best words now. I don't think so. Because I'm simply talking. I'm not thinking about every single thing currently. Because I've already thought about a lot of these things. And I'm trying to tell you the most obvious things. Not the obvious things, the most straightforward things without actually giving you everything I could give you about it. So I'm not going to say everything now about everything that I'm saying. If you want to know more about what I'm saying, then you need to talk to me and ask. And also think for yourself. You don't always need to ask questions. You can understand what I'm saying without asking questions. Males like having females rely on them. It's very simple. It's not complicated. It's a fact. Males like dominating females. It's a fact. If you're a male that likes a female to dominate you, then you're a weirdo and you're an idiot. And also, it's not even really fully dominating. Like, even if you like a female to dominate you, it depends on what you're actually doing. But most of the times, it still won't even be dominating. It still actually won't even be dominating because the female is submissive from their nature, not from their nature, from their design, from their body. They're submissive from their body. Their body is meant to be submissive. And yes, their mental is not the same as their body. Their mentality is not the same as their body. So, yes, a female can be dominant, a female can be submissive, but their body is still submissive, even if their mind is dominant. But also, males can easily change a female's mind in ways that a lot of people don't understand. And I don't know if you would if you're watching this. Well, not if, but if you watching this now, if you would understand that. I don't know if you would. Like I said, I'm not going to talk about everything. I'm simply talking about a bit of what I want to talk about now. That's all. That's all it is. I will be playing World of Tanks today, and I will be relaxing after this. But I need to say what is correct first. And I need to put this guy in his place. Absolute retard. So I'm simply talking a bit about some things that are obviously problems and things that are obviously not complicated, but people make it so complicated. It's not complicated to understand that a female is designed to be submissive. They have breasts, they have a vagina. Those things are submissive. Their purposes are submissive. And not only that, but females have been submissive from the beginning. They have been, on average, more submissive from the beginning. And that average might be changing now because of the nonsense that we talk about today, but it doesn't change the facts that they should be submissive. It doesn't need to be changed. And the only reason it is changing now is because we're doing nonsense, and we're doing things that don't make sense. We're doing things that are incredibly stupid, like giving females more chances and removing the chances from males. And I'm not talking about only school, I'm not talking about only money, I'm talking about also finding a partner. Males have gotten less chances. Females are way too difficult. And as I said in my message before, in my note before, they expect us to be nice to them. They expect us to treat them equally, yet they do not for us. They expect us to not focus on the values and the things that are important, like the transactional thing. That's the word I was looking for. They expect us to not be transactional when they are transactional for us. Most females are. And I don't mean transactional as in they get what they want and then they leave or something like that. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they're transactional in the way that they look at many things, and if they don't like it, they will not like you. They will not want to be with you, and they don't give you a chance. They don't actually see the future. They don't see what you could be in the future. So females are actually more transactional than males. Currently, in this time, in feminism time, where feminism is on the rise, and it's always been on the rise for, not always, but I mean, it's been on the rise for a long time. Females are becoming more transactional than men, and they already are more transactional than men. They're more demanding than men. That's the word I'm looking for. Demanding. They demand a specific standard. Too much. But a lot of men are the exact opposite. Most men are actually the exact opposite. Most men do not care what female it is and how they look or how they act. Of course, how they act is important, but they don't rely on so many things like females do. And I'm not going to specifics because it's a fact. Females think about more things and are more transactional. Well, I keep saying transactional. I need to stop saying transactional. I don't like it. I don't like that word. Hmm. Females demand more things than males. And it's because of the factors I said before. Feminism, the fact of jobs being taken away from males. And this person here talked about how females don't want to go down, they don't want to get a relationship down. Was the same thing for a male. Except now it's worse because most males, they don't know what the hell down is. I usually wouldn't use hell, but I use it here. Yeah, I should not say hell. I don't like to use words like that. They don't know what down is. And that's because they're already at the bottom. They're already at the bottom. So they don't like to get into a relationship with someone lower than them, but they're already at the bottom. So there's no lower. There's not a lower. There's only higher. There's only someone higher than you. There's only someone that you can benefit from. And in general, that's how it is, but currently it's actually more so, much more so than it would be normally if it was actually correct. If it was correct, then you can always benefit from a female because you can mold them to be how you want. And not only that, but they can simply give you the enjoyment that you want. Males sometimes simply want to relax. And they want to stop with all the competition. They want to stop with all the dominance, at least in terms of competing with other males, and they want to stop with all the work, all the effort that they have to do for society. And they want to simply relax with their female. And that is an up. Not an up in the way that I meant before. I meant it, and before I meant it that a lot of females are better than men and can do things that men should be doing instead. That's how I meant it before. But now I mean it makes their lives better. That's what I meant by that. By saying it's up. By saying it's up. You heard me the first time, I know. I'm going to be talking much more in this video because I'm not done. Not even close. Not even close. This is simply me talking without actually saying specific things. I want to say specific things though. And talk about exactly specific things and prove this idiot wrong. I really do, but I'm simply talking now to make myself understand more and also to make you understand more about a lot of the things that are going on and actually happening and that a lot of people are oblivious to because of countless different reasons like school, like chlorine in the water, like society, like feminism, like males acting intelligent like this loser here you see on the screen. His name is what is his name? I don't know his name. I don't know his name. What is his name? What is his name? Mark Manson. One of the biggest losers I've seen. He has some things to say that are correct, but 90% of it is garbage. 80% of it is garbage. He looks like a loser too. He needs to lose some weight. His cheeks are looking a bit big. He needs to take better care of his hair too. His hair looks like it's screaming for help. It's a little bit gray, it's a little bit brown, it's frizzy, it's dry. Jeez, how much worse can hair get? And he's having gray hairs on his face. I don't know how old this guy is, but I could care less. There's obviously some problems when you're having so much gray hair. Gray hair is such an interesting thing. People just uh, people excuse it as old age and getting older, but I don't think so. I do not think so. Of course, if I get gray hair, I would I would think about it and I would say, well, I wouldn't contradict myself. No, I wouldn't. Actually, I wouldn't. But I would blame it on something else than simply like the sun and everything, and the sun and bad care of yourself in some ways, like eating too much sugar or something like that. I wouldn't blame it on the same things. If I got gray hair, this is what I would say. I would say it's because of the chlorine in the water, because I've been drinking chlorine for a long time. Uh, and it's also because of the sugar that I've had. I've had a lot of sugar in my past, and I'm done with it now. I'm done with all of it. I'm currently 19. No, I'm currently 20. I had my birthday 5 days ago. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't feel 20. But the thing is, 20, it's a huge number for a lot of people, but for me, not really. Not really. It's a huge number. Oh, you got your degree, you got your life, and you got your job. Oh, you're getting and working now. No, I'm not. Nope. No, I'm not. I'm not an idiot like you. So no, I'm not. I'm not going to do something that doesn't appreciate me like I deserve to be appreciated. And I'm also not going to do something that is obviously incredibly boring and incredibly. It should be controlled by robots. It should be controlled by robots. Half of the things. Half of the things are so incredibly boring they should be controlled by robots. And the only reason they're not is because we don't have the technology for it yet. So I'm not doing it. I'm quite lucky, definitely. A lot of people could have different, a lot of people do have a different situation where a lot of people could have a different situation where they're in a situation when they don't have as much money or they don't have as much ability to simply relax, and they're also being forced by their parents to do things. But there's always there's always something you can do different. There's always something you can do different. There's always a solution to start fixing the problem. If not a fully complete fix for the problem, there's always something. There's always something you can do to improve. And a lot of people are not intelligent enough to realize that because they go to school and get taught everything, and then they go and learn everything from society because that's exactly how they're taught to be from school. They learn everything from society and they do exactly what society tells them to, like good sheep. They're a bunch of sheep, they follow the herd because they were taught to in school. And I don't know how you could say otherwise. I really don't. Of course, there's a factor of, oh, you get to do things yourself, but you're still getting told to do those things, are you not? Are you not? Yeah, you are. If you're not doing it from your own free will, from your own intelligence, from your own thoughts, then you are being taught the same way I am talking about. And this applies to you too. If you want to do something, if you want to learn how to do something like coding, or if you want to learn how to be an engineer or whatever they call it, whatever you want to call it, whatever job you want to get into, if you want to do that job, the best thing to do is not to go to school. It's not to go to school, it's not to sit in a class, it's not to get a degree, it's not to get a PhD, is to sit down by yourself and use your common sense and use your dedication and your knowledge to understand it and to connect things together in your mind and eventually to get what you want. And but you have to keep trying. You have to be dedicated to it. That's the best way to do it. To be dedicated and to be understanding and intelligent enough. And you're not going to be intelligent enough if you're going to simply get told what to do. You're not intelligent if you're simply getting told everything. You're not intelligent. If you're given all the answers, does that mean you're actually intelligent? No. If you want to make something, especially online, using electricity, then yes, this is the best way to learn it, to do what I said. But there's a lot of things you can learn in the way I said. And there's a lot of things you can do in the way I said. But you have to rely on yourself and stop relying on others so much. And there's stuff on my monitor because I ate recently and somehow it got on my monitor. I don't know. I don't know how it got on my monitor. I don't know. I had some shrimp, some boiled shrimp. Messy. It's messy. It has a bunch of stuff in it. I don't know how it got on my monitor. I really don't. It somehow splashed on my monitor. No clue. No clue. Maybe from my hands. It's possible. I was shaking my hands off a little bit. Barely though. I mean, I was barely shaking them off, but it's probably enough to get on here. Doesn't take much. But a lot of things I'm saying now do actually make sense, even though if they don't seem like it because I'm putting them in a not perfect way. They do actually make sense, and I want to explain them better. But everything I said, I don't actually remember everything I said. So that's the reason I say you have to ask questions about it. And you have to show me that you want more information on it. If you want a better explanation, or it's either you ask questions about it or you understand it yourself and you decide yourself on how it makes sense. But it does make sense. It does. And I don't need any statistics to prove that. I need zero statistics. I need zero data. I need zero third party analysis to prove my claims. To prove myself. All I need is logic. That's all I need. And I think you'd be quite surprised with how much you can do with only logic. I feel like if you simply stopped watching shorts and you stopped watching TikTok and you stopped looking at anything other than your subscriptions and you stop letting society affect you so much and society change your thoughts so much that you could actually understand a lot about life. And also, if you had some time to yourself, it's not only about yeah, well, that's a part of society affecting you, definitely, but you need time for yourself. That's what I mean by that. That's also what I mean by that. Is you need time away from society online. You also need time away from society physically, because people talk so much, and their thoughts can get in your head and make you think things that you shouldn't be thinking. But I've been alone for so long. I've actually been able to think properly. And the thing is, I watch people like this and I see the exact type of stuff that I'm talking about. I'm able to prove them wrong in like 15 different ways. And yet the people that are talking to them are struggling. And also, how do you even come to those conclusions? How do you even get those conclusions in your brain and think they're correct? It's quite obvious. It's because you're not using logic anymore. You're using emotion from society because you're a weak male. A lot of these people are here in this video, especially, but a lot of people that talk are weak males. And a lot of the females, they're the same way. They're weak too. They don't actually understand. There's a few females I've seen on Jubilee that definitely understand. I don't know about a few actually. One that I can remember, but there's a lot of females that do understand. Actually, yeah, there's a few. There's a few that understand. Definitely. I can remember one other one now. But the fact is, females are not going to understand men's problems, the majority at least. And that's the reason it stayed like this for so long. That's the reason females are so incredibly oblivious to it and act like, oh, you're just a weak male. You're a weak male and you should be better for me. And I'm going to go find another male that's more stupid than you and obviously more of an idiot. But he makes jokes. He's funny, at least. At least he's funny. Funny doesn't mean you're intelligent, retard. Funny doesn't mean you're dominant. Funny doesn't mean they're going to treat you correctly. And I'm sorry to say, but you have not learned. Your parents did not teach you correctly. Society did not teach you correctly. And I've learned all of this from myself. I didn't learn any of this from others. I didn't learn any of this from the manosphere. I didn't learn any of this from others. Anything about people telling me this is correct. I learned this from others, from their mistakes, from their problems, and from my own mistakes and from my own problems. Because is the only way I can differentiate myself from the other males. It's the only way I can show myself that I'm better. So obviously I have to. The fact is I have to think about these things in a more advanced way than you do. It's because I don't associate with people. I don't talk to people. I don't do any of that. And it's made me a better person because of that. It hasn't made me a worse person. And like I said before, a lot of people in society that go out every day or whatever and do things outside, they let society affect them too much. And not only that, but they have bad habits. A lot of, not bad habits, but a lot of things they do are simply not correct. For example, drinking alcohol. I say example, that's not an example. That's a fact. Drinking alcohol is so incredibly bad for you. And people don't even realize it. People let it. 21, that's it. You be 21, you drink alcohol whenever you want. Oh, give me a break. Drinking alcohol affects your mind and you don't even realize it. It makes you feel good, yes, but it affects your mind in ways that are negative, in countless ways that are negative. Not from this, not simply from the fact of it being making you feel different, and that's a negative already because you shouldn't be feeling different and you shouldn't be trying to actively find something that makes you feel different to try to make you feel better about yourself and more have a more fun time. You shouldn't be trying to do that because you're lying to yourself. You're actively lying to yourself about how you feel. You're ingesting something that makes you feel better than you actually do. So you should think about that next time you drink alcohol. You know what? Another that's another problem, really. Alcohol. A lot of people drink alcohol. Alcohol has been normalized, and it's not only making you a worse person, but it's actually affecting a lot of people in society and affecting countless different things. And generally, we should all stop it. And I bet that a lot of people would be improving more if they stopped drinking alcohol. There's a lot of things that are affected, and it is your mind. Actually, your brain is affected by alcohol, and that means it's a negative. If it affects you mentally, that's a negative already because that's well, not if it affects you mentally, it's a negative already. Of course, there's a lot of things that affect you mentally, like drinking water affects you mentally because it gives you hydration. But the thing is, alcohol doesn't give you hydration. All it gives you is your brain having a bit of well, of course, there is water in alcoholic beverages, definitely. But alcohol doesn't. So you're removing liquid, you're removing water from that beverage and you're replacing it with alcohol. And because of that, what I'm saying now is still important. Alcohol, it only affects your brain and it makes your brain think things and it makes your brain feel things that are not natural and are not normal. And yes, maybe, yeah, it is fun. 100% it's fun. It's interesting. Of course, it's interesting. If it makes you feel different and makes you feel more things without having the societal nonsense, yeah, it's definitely interesting. There's a lot of societal nonsense that is currently happening, and that's the reason you want to drink alcohol, is because you want to get away from all of it, and you actually want to simply be more natural. You don't want to have to think about all these other stupid things like, oh, did you say the correct thing to this girl? Will she like you because of it? Or are you acting weird? Do these guys think you're cool? Or do these females think you're cool? Or are you actually being cool? Are you actually a cool male? Are you actually an attractive female? Are you actually feminine enough? But you will never find the answers drinking alcohol. You will never find the answers drinking alcohol because they are temporary. It is a temporary thing. The only way you will find the answers is through yourself, how you naturally are. You may find some answers while drinking alcohol, and you may feel good while drinking alcohol, but it is temporary. And the better solution is feeling good without it. But for that, you need to look into yourself and you need to look into what is I'm not talking about looking into yourself in terms of emotions and feelings and things like that. I'm talking about what is actually affecting you and how can you improve yourself? How can you be a better person? How is society affecting? There's so many different things. And the fact is a lot of people don't even want to think about it because of the fact that they're already too deep. They're already too far in it. They're already so far in society that they don't even want to come out because they know it would be too much of a challenge and they don't even have the motivation for it. They don't have the person like me telling them that they should do it and they should improve themselves. Okay. Let's go. We watch.
Actually, when you look at the
I already watched this whole video, so I'm simply gonna go through it a bit.
makes for a happy relationship, these things aren't even on the map.
Okay, so if a woman has, let's say, 12, 13.
Oh yeah, this is something important. This guy is talking about.
Actually, when you look at the research of like what makes for a happy
Completely
relationship,
wrong.
these things aren't even on the map.
Why are you talking about research, buddy? Why are you talking about research? Is romantic and sexual feelings something to research? Something to look at the data for? Yeah. No. No, it isn't. No. How are you even going to say what a happy relationship is? Can you actually say for a fact what a happy relationship is if you cannot actually know what the person is exactly feeling in their brain? No, you cannot. So that's what I mean by that. So the fact is their base of this reasoning that they're giving here is absolutely terrible. And they're saying that females having sex with or being with multiple partners doesn't matter as much or doesn't matter at all as people are saying it does. And you're simply completely wrong because it does. And this is another factor of degrading males' value. So you want males to be okay with females just doing whatever they want? Really? Mm-hmm. So you want males to give up another thing of dominance, and another thing of value, and another thing that makes them special and competitive to compete for that special female. You want them to give up another thing and make females able to do more than they already are? Why is it that you think having sex with other people is and as a female is and you can do that as much as you want? Why do you think that's okay? How is it that you think that's okay? How is it that you think that doesn't mean anything? How is it that you think it doesn't mean much? It obviously does, though. It affects you mentally, it affects you physically. It does mean something. It's very important. And it affects the facts of a male being able to earn that female. It's not as valuable if that male earns the female when she's already had 15 other guys. It's not as valuable. It's a fact. It's logic. It's very simple. It's very simple. That's what I meant to say. It's very simple. It's not complicated. That's what I was about to say. And then I changed my words saying it's very, and then I messed up. It's not complicated. It's not. It does make a female less valuable. And it's very funny that we even have to talk about this. Like I said, it's very funny and very stupid that we even have to talk about this. Like it's some type of revelation. Like it's some type of things that needs to be that needs to be talked about. It's not. It isn't. It's a fact. It does make females less valuable. And not only that, but it affects them mentally and physically negatively. If they have more partners, it does affect them negatively and it does affect them negatively. The thing is, females should not be having multiple partners. The reason they do is probably because the female is way too demanding, like I've been saying. The female is way too demanding and wants to have the perfect male, whatever nonsense or whatever they think is the perfect male. Or the male is trying to dominate her and she's simply not doing it. The male is trying to make them do things and they're not doing it. And that's another thing that females are doing wrong. They're not submissive enough. And that's the reason it's somehow okay for females to get it wrong multiple times, basically. It's because it's so incredibly complicated to get it correct in this current society. You have to try 15 different people to get it correct. Well, you shouldn't be for a female, obviously. A female should not be doing that because they're meant to be submissive. They're not meant to keep deciding and keep trying to say all these different things that they want. They never were meant to do that. Males are meant to be the best. They're meant to be competitive. They're meant to be the ones earning the females anyways. And that's the thing with the females is that the good males are meant to be the ones earning the females. Not simply any male could earn a female. And that's currently how it is with society currently, is that any male with just talking and being a retard and saying jokes and acting nice somehow can earn a female. And I've seen it countless times on porn. I've seen it countless times in matches or in games. I've seen it countless times, dude. These people do not deserve these females. They do not. They look ugly. They're incredibly unathletic. And they're incredibly stupid. They're mentally ill, like the females. How it was always supposed to be is that males, the good males, and the males that actually are better actually are in the females. And those males then impregnate those females. And it doesn't have to be multiple females. I'm not saying it has to be multiple females, but I'm saying that how it was always in the past is that those good males didn't have to try so hard. They didn't have to talk to the female about 15 different things, about 15 different subjects, about 15 different paragraphs or essays. They didn't have to say all these words. The females simply realize how good of a male they are, and they wanted to be with them. And then the male was the one to reject them or to accept them, not the female. Because that's how it is currently in the society, is that the female actually chooses if they want to be with you, which is exactly the opposite of what it should be. The males are meant to be the better one here, not the females. The males are meant to be the ones the females are trying to get and trying to earn. Because it's not so simple. It's not so simple to simply stop going to females and stop trying to get every single female. It's not so simple. And so you need to earn it. You need to earn us to stay with you. But no one is. None of these females are. And that's why you see this gigantic imbalance. There's so many imbalances, and not only because of that, but it's because of countless different things like that. There's a huge imbalance. And it's never going to fix unless you realize these things. It's never going to be balanced unless you realize these things and stop listening to these people. And you take your life into your own hands and you start realizing some of these things. You start realizing what logic is and you start using it instead of listening to these people talk and then saying they're saying facts and start defending them. This guy is not saying facts. He's saying nonsense. So here's what you look at. You look at these statistics and you look at, well, guess what? The other countries say that feminism actually doesn't benefit them or doesn't negatively impact them as much. So technically feminism not the problem. It's actually something else. That's what this retard says. And I cannot believe he said that, because how does other countries and other societies that have a completely different language, how does that relate to us? We are a completely different country. We're in our own world. We are in our own world comparatively. So you cannot say that feminism is the exact same over there as over here, and since it's working over there, it should work over here. No, that's not how that works, buddy. You're an idiot. And you know what? Feminism might work over there because those males are actually less dominant than even us. Like, the thing is, they talked about how feminism works on other countries. I don't know exactly what countries they're talking about, but I can think of, like, maybe Korea or something like that. Some country where I think males are the most submissive in the world. It depends. It does depend. I would need to look at some evidence, not look at some evidence, but look at some people that are from the exact country, because I don't know the exact countries. I'm simply saying a country that seems like that's the country it is. But the fact is, it simply could be that the males there are actually more submissive than the males in the United States. And because of that, yeah, sure, feminism works better because of the fact that the males are happier because they're so incredibly submissive. But it doesn't mean it's correct. It doesn't mean it's correct. Also, me talking now actually doesn't even describe the exact things I'm thinking about. If you want to know exactly what I've been thinking about and like the solutions I've made, you have to actually watch the videos that I've made. You have to, because otherwise you're not going to understand it fully. Because when I talk, my thoughts are trying to be through my voice, but it's so difficult to do that, to make exactly what I've thought about into my voice and the exact conclusions I've made into my voice and the exact reasoning I've had for it. It's difficult, and it's difficult to even understand it myself when I'm trying to talk and think at the same time. I'm trying to say my words and think about how it makes sense. And that's not so simple. That's not as easy as you think. And that's the reason a lot of these people are actually struggling to speak. And that's the reason they say things that are obviously the same. Like they're the same way as I'm thinking now. They're the same way as they're not saying what they believe is perfect. They're saying things that are not as good as they probably want to say too. I'm not saying probably. They're saying things not as good as they would want to say them too. And I can tell from the fact of them struggling to say things and struggling to explain things and also simply not making perfect sense. And maybe in their mind it did. Maybe in their mind that's exactly what they wanted to say, but there's a lot of things that I've seen that obviously are not what they're trying to say and obviously are not perfect. So even then it doesn't change that fact. And it's completely understandable too. Like I said, it's you're trying to do two things at once. You're trying to talk, which is make words with your mouth, and you're also talking to everyone. This is obviously a better situation because I'm talking to a recording, but it's still very similar. Also, I need to go use the bathroom soon, but it's okay.
Actually, when you look at the research,
It's okay. I'm okay. I will deal with it. Because I'm a male, I'm a strong male, and I will not let that stop me. No. Hmm. Oh, I just realized. Oops, that was my fault. Wait, no, I don't think I was showing it the whole time. Oh, I've been talking for an hour and I haven't been showing it. Oh my, that was my fault. 100%. I mean, of course it's my fault, but holy, I didn't realize. It is showing my screen now. I'm sorry, I didn't realize. I didn't realize. I didn't realize. I forgot. I was too focused. I was too focused on talking that I completely forgot to show my screen. Oh my, that is annoying. It's because I wanted to do it automatically. That's the reason. I don't want it for me to need to press a button. I need to press a button to start recording, and then I need to press a button to show my screen. I want it to be automatic, but whatever. It is what it is. It is what it is. It's here now. Not much I can do about it. I hope you still listen to what I said. I wasn't actually watching the video or anything. I only was sitting here the whole time. Really, I didn't do much. Here's
actually,
what
when
the
you look at
first
the
part.
research of like what makes for a happy relationship, these things aren't even on the map.
Okay, so if a woman
What makes a happy relationship is understanding the person fully. And like I said before, you don't need to have countless different females, but the fact is, you should make multiple females want you. And that's what a lot of males would like to have. That's what a lot of males want, is a lot of females wanting them, but they then have to choose one. Because that shows the value of a male. The fact is, a male should be greater than the female. A male should have more value than the female. That is how it should be. How can you say otherwise when males have been doing everything for females for thousands of years? How can you say otherwise? You make no sense. You make zero sense. Seriously, your argument makes no sense. If you're talking about and you're arguing about me, about this to me, and you're saying all this nonsense about that, you're saying all these things about it, and the fact is, it's been like this for thousands of years. And it's quite funny that you'd argue this. It really is, because you're simply mentally ill. You're quite clearly mentally ill, and the fact is, you're trying to justify it by saying females can be this way, but doesn't mean they should be. It doesn't mean they should be. It doesn't mean it's correct. You know what is correct? What we've learned to do for thousands of years. What we've learned and optimized for thousands of years. You know that is correct? You know what is correct? The things we've optimized for thousands of years. And guess what we've optimized for? We've optimized for females being submissive and for males being better than them. And for males being more dominant and males dominating them. That's what we've optimized for. But you're too oblivious and too stupid to understand that. And you've been taught by school and put in your little classrooms. And now you think, oh, all this stuff makes sense to me. Oh, it all makes sense. It all makes sense. I went to college. I went to school. It all makes sense. We're all the same. We're all the same. We're all equal. We're not all equal. We're not. We're not even close. We're not even close to being all equal. I'm way better than you. And guess what? That's my purpose. That's my purpose in life. Is to be better. Is to be competitive. I'm a male after all. And not only am I a male, but I'm actually a good male. I'm one that understands these things, unlike a lot of people. And I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not afraid to enact it. And to be like this. Because it feels good. It's correct. It's exactly how it should feel, actually. But the only problem is that I'm not getting what I deserve. There's so many females that are currently neglecting me. I've talked to countless females, and they don't understand my worth. They don't understand my value. And they instead go to some other retard, some other loser, some other pathetic person that they believe is correct because they say nice things. They say things that they believe is nicer than what I say, even though what I say is much clearly more nice. Much more clearly nice. Much more clearly nicer. But the fact is, they don't actually understand what is the nicest thing. They don't really understand that. They simply believe whatever they think is the nicest is what's the nicest. But they don't actually understand what is the nicest thing. So that's the thing that you females simply do not understand. And you will not understand this if you do not focus, if you do not stop thinking about things in such an emotional way and start actually letting males show you what is correct. But not only that, but if you start thinking more logically, then if you don't do those things, then you're never going to understand. Oh my, it's so annoying. It really is. This is the reason I didn't want to do this, is because I know I'm making things more complicated by saying a few things, but these things need to be said. I know they do. I know they need to be said. And like I said, I'm going to talk more about it, and I'm going to finish this video by definitely explaining more about these things that I said. I'm not going to let this video go, but you simply have to watch the video fully. And if you want to know more, if you want me to explain a little bit better and try to simplify it a bit and try to make more sense of it to myself and to you, then definitely ask a question about it, because I will explain more. I don't know if you can hear my stomach. My stomach is yeah, it's okay. Simply from what you've learned in school and simply from what you've learned from others does not mean it's correct. And a lot of people currently are being taught how to be, how to act, and how to feel. And if you're taught everything, you will never actually learn anything for yourself, and you'll never actually know the truth. You'll never know what is correct. You'll never know the logic behind it. You'll never know the reasoning for it unless you actually learn it for yourself. There are some things you don't need to learn for yourself, like, is water something I should drink? You don't need to learn that for yourself. You don't need to understand how it affects every single part of your body. You don't need to understand that. You simply drink water because it makes you stay alive and it makes you healthy and it makes you feel good. And it's quite clearly the most natural substance we've evolved to drink. The most natural thing we can use to it's the most natural thing we've evolved to use is water. It's one of the most, of course, air too, but I'm not talking about everything. I'm saying it's one of the most. It's very important, and it's quite clearly something that we don't need to think about. We don't need to question society for it. We simply drink water. But the fact is, there are a lot of things that people are not considering and not thinking about, and then they wonder how they get proven wrong and how they get so easily affected by other people's thoughts, and then they have conversations like this when it shouldn't even be a conversation. And also they can't actually prove other people wrong. They can never actually prove these other people wrong. It's because they've been taught to listen. They've simply been taught to listen and listen and then to follow. It's too much listening, and it will never get better unless you start actually doing things yourself. Now let's watch.
Actually, when you look at the research of like what makes for a happy relationship,
You're
these
wrong.
things aren't even on the map.
They are on the map, absolutely, because they affect your mentality as a female. They affect your mental and physical health.
So if a woman has, let's say, 12, 13, 17 bodies, how many relationships have you been in? 3.
Because women are exactly like cars, obviously. Relationships with women is largely transactional, and when you are approaching a relationship in a
What did you just say?
Relationships with women is largely transactional, and when you are approaching a relationship in a transactional way, you're trying to get the best deal possible. Porn consumption.
You always are trying to get the best deal possible, buddy. You always are trying to get the best deal possible. What do you not understand about natural selection? Do you not understand that people will always choose the better person? The one that makes them feel better, the one that looks better, the one that is better.
Disproportionately harms men.
All right. I'm here with Mark Manson.
You're a submissive male, and you're more like a female than a male.
And thanks for doing
actually.
Of course.
Say such nonsense like that.
It was an experience.
It was an experience. You're not like a debate me bro. That's not kind of your brand as much. Have you done anything remarkably similar to Surrounded?
No. Normally I would not be interested in doing this at all, but given the topic was the manosphere, and I guess kind of given the unique
Came out, but obviously it's turned into something different.
There's a bit of stuff
great
here.
Opportunity, and I felt a great opportunity.
Fear-ish.
I'm not watching all
like
of this again, of course.
In our culture, especially American culture, would you consider yourself like kind of adjacent to that? Like you were in kind of like the...
It was inevitable that I would start kind of bumping up against today what we call the manosphere. And I remember getting into these debates with them. The Surrounded episode in many ways felt like a little bit of a full circle over the last few years. It's been troubling to me, and so, but when you guys reached out, I was like, okay, I feel like I have to do this.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I already watched this whole thing. I would actually, maybe next time I'll even start recording before I watch the whole thing. It's possible, but I was eating while I was watching this, so I didn't do that. But maybe next time I will.
You know, when you guys reached out,
because obviously
I don't know.
Also a man, and these topics.
Oh yeah, also this guy's a retard too. He's this guy on the right. He's also a retard. He's also a loser. I mean, look at him. He's wearing AirPods. He has glasses on. He looks like a submissive male. I mean, look at his skin. Why is it so shiny, dude? You look gay. You look really gay. You look gay, bro. You look gay. You look gay, though. You look gay, though. You really do. You really do. You need to work on your masculinity. Your masculinity is quite low, and your voice sounds like it too, and your actions are like it too. You're simply not a very impressive male. You're more like a submissive male than an impressive male. And you're not even that intelligent too. You should definitely work on yourself.
Weave through my experience. Before we go to Michael, I want to do... Joe Mari had a metaphor for body count, which was essentially buying a car.
because women are exactly like cars, obviously.
There's certain
Why is it putting this part? I think this part's later though, is it not? And no, women are not exactly like cars, but they are similar.
Amount of miles on one car versus another. He's kind of using that as an analogy for body count. I'm obviously going to buy the car with fewer miles. And this exchange happens just shortly after that.
And so that's what everybody thinks about and talks about when it's actually, when you look at the research of like what makes for a happy relationship, these things aren't even on the map.
Okay, so if a woman has, let's say, 12, 13, 17 bodies, how many relationships have you been in? 3. What's up with the other 14 people?
She probably likes to party.
Then go party. We don't have to be together. But you can.
Or maybe she used to like the party, but now she's ready to settle down.
Not with me. Go. If you can decide who you open your legs for, you can't decide who gets down on one knee for you.
Can I ask why not with you?
If everybody's had a turn and nobody's enjoyed it, why do I want to get you now?
All right.
And that's true. You can't say that's not true, though. If everybody's had a turn and nobody's enjoyed it. Well, technically, of course, people have enjoyed it, but the fact is, have those males enjoyed it enough to stay? That's the fact. And if none of them have, or if none of them have stayed, then obviously something's wrong with you, or something's wrong with the males. And if something's wrong with the males, then that's a problem. That's a problem that needs to be fixed. And that's exactly what the manosphere is about. That's exactly what these people have been talking about, is they're trying to fix the problems of men. And this retard is basically saying that nothing is wrong. That we basically need to be the same way that we always have been. And we need to keep getting more submissive even. We need to let the females have sex with as many males as they want. And do whatever they want. We need to stay exactly how we are. That's what he's saying, basically. You're a retard.
We got pause there. You've been voted out.
To quote what he said, if you're spreading your legs.
Sexist or misogynistic attitudes our conversation, because this is kind of the meta thing that's happening, I think, with a lot of these men.
Yeah. Something that also came to mind during that exchange was, I think actually culturally so much has changed, even since kind of my coming of age experience and probably yours as well. And now, sex feels so much higher stakes now than it does. And so when he kind of said somebody has a lot of bodies, you're like, she's probably likes to party. That actually made me think more of like the early 2000s and what I just remember kind of sleeping around being like much more normalized at that time.
I think there's both good and bad aspects of it. What I do think is definitely bad is that it some mistakes, embarrass yourself a little bit, and then grow from it. I really do think there is something about growing.
Making some mistakes, bro. What are you on about? You think it's the same? You think it's the same thing? I think I know what's going on with this guy. He thinks it's the same thing for a male to have sex with a female and a female to have sex with a male. No, it isn't. They both mean different things. They both have different values. A female having sex with a male is much more important, and a male having sex with a female is much less important, but it's not less important. I mean, it's much less of a bad thing. It's much less of a bad thing if that male or female is not correct, and they're not, if it's considered as not, if it doesn't work and it doesn't last long. I mean, the relationship doesn't last long, or if there is not a relationship at all and it's only for sex. A male can simply do that, but a female should not. Why? It's quite obvious. It's really quite obvious, and if you don't understand, then you're an idiot. Exactly like this guy is. It's so sad. Like I said, it's so sad that I have to explain this type of stuff. But that's what I'm here for. But my stomach is definitely hurting. Well, not hurting, but it's annoying me. But it's okay. Like I said, I'm going to deal with it. Okay, let me get serious. Because the thing about a male is that you want to actually make females want you so bad that you actually get multiple females. And that doesn't mean you have to be with multiple females, but it means you can be. And basically rewarding yourself with the females is actually completely natural. Because otherwise, what else are you going to reward yourself with? With more competition, more work, more other things? Like I said, males simply want to relax sometimes, and that's exactly what a female gives you. Is they relax, they get to enjoy life and do cute things, do nice things, instead of focusing on more competitive things and more brutal things, more demanding things. But that's the thing about females currently, is that they're way too demanding, like I said before, and it's very important because males don't want a female that's demanding. They never have. And the only reason that males are currently okay with it and are currently dealing with it is because that's the only way they know how to get a female, and that's the only way there is the ability to get a female, because there's barely any females that are not demanding and barely any females that are actually willing to submit and to do things for the male instead of expecting the male to do countless different things for them. There's barely any females like that. At least in the United States. Maybe there's a bunch of females like that in the other countries, but I'm talking about United States here, not other countries. So I found more stuff on the monitor, so I want to clean that. Like I was saying, though, it's a cool thing for a male to be able to have sex with multiple females. It's because you've earned it. That's your reward for being good, basically. But for a female to have sex with multiple males, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. It doesn't mean that you're impressive. It doesn't mean that you're good. It simply means that you've given yourself to multiple males and you've devalued yourself. You're not worth competing for as much. That's all it means. And yes, there is still things for you to offer. If you've given yourself to countless males, yes, there's still things for you to offer. There's still the fact of you being attractive. There's still the fact of your mind being impressive and good in some ways, but the fact is you've devalued yourself. And yes, you are less desirable for it. But actually, if a lot of females want you, it's not even the fact of you actually having sex with multiple females as a male. If you have sex with multiple females, it doesn't mean that you're actually more desirable. It can mean that, and it does most of the times. But it shouldn't. It shouldn't. I'll say that. If you have sex with multiple females, it shouldn't mean that you're more desirable or more valuable. It doesn't. It doesn't. I'll say that. But if you make multiple females want you and try to earn you, that is something that's good. That is something that's correct, and that is something that that you that that's I guess that's the thing actually that people are confused about is that it's basically for both ways actually. For males and females, you should not simply have sex with people. You should make them both earn it. But what's going on there, dude? I don't know what's going on there. I have something on my record button. I don't know what's going on. Perfectly on my record button, so I have to be very careful or else the video is going to end. Okay, I got it off. It was, I don't know how they got on my record button. Whatever, it's usually a mess when I eat that food, so I'm not surprised. It gets messy. Let me think for a bit, because this is definitely interesting. Would I say it's the same? Would I say it's the same? Would I say it's the same? Like I said, this is simply me thinking now, so I could actually reconsider what I'm saying. I don't have to actually believe it all and have to defend it all and try to make a reasoning for it. And try to give reasoning for it, give the reasoning I've already found for it. And that's exactly what I'm doing now. I'm finding the correct answer. No. Well, I guess the thing is, a male doesn't need to, like I said, he wants to relax, and he should be able to relax with a female. He doesn't need to simply hold back like a female should need to do, because of the fact that it is devaluing for the female if they have sex with whoever they want. And basically, what that means is that what you should do as a female is simply find a good person and make it work. You make it work and you try to be as good as you can for them. That's the best way to do it. And you try to motivate them to be good for you and try to motivate them to do more for you. But you don't leave them and start talking about leaving them unless they be this way for you or whatever. You don't leave them immediately and start looking for someone else. What you should do instead is you should instead If you want someone badly, all you need to do is give yourself to someone and stay like that. You shouldn't simply leave them after that. That's how it works. That's how you should do it. But you don't need to do that. You don't need to. And also, this is about physical and online things. Like, for example, online is more simple than physical. If you have sex online, it's much easier to say it's okay, and to say it doesn't mean much, and to say a male can actually compensate for that than if you have sex physically with someone else, with another male. So there is that to consider. But yes, males should be rewarded better. But I do understand that. I do understand. I said before that males should be able to relax and be able to basically enjoy a female or enjoy females. But the fact is, you don't have to do that with multiple. You still could choose one and basically relax like that. You could choose one and then. But it's not so simple. It's not even that simple though. How do you even choose one if you don't know which one to choose? Are you supposed to choose at random? No, obviously not. So you'd have to basically use time with all of them. Or else you cannot know. At least not fully. You could base it on attractiveness. Attractiveness is one of the easiest factors to consider. You look at them and you get information from that. And that's one of the reasons males actually rely on attractiveness. But it's not the same for females. Females should not be relying so much on attractiveness. Because there's much more a male can offer you than attractiveness. And it's not the same for a female. A female cannot offer you much more than attractiveness. Because, like I said, males are meant to be better than females. And yes, females can give you the nice, cute things. I know they can. But I'm talking about non-emotional things, like logical things, like things that are not simply preference. And the reason females should not simply rely on attractiveness and not as much as males is because the female is submissive and they need to be careful with who they give themselves to, and they need to be careful what they value. And what they do for that male. And if they give themselves to that male, they need to be careful of that. They cannot simply do it simply for attractiveness because it could make you very unhappy in the future. But that's not the same for a male because, like I said, a male can change the female easily. Because, like I said, they're better than females. Males are meant to be better than females. And they're meant to be dominant. They're meant to be able to mold the female to how they want them to be. And so that's the reason I say that females should not be like that. They should not focus on attraction. And it's okay for males to do it. Because they've earned it, unlike females. They haven't earned it. They haven't earned much, actually. There's a lot of females that have barely done anything, actually. And that's exactly how males should keep it. That's exactly how males like it. Males actually like the fact that they can provide you and give you things. But the fact is, how are you supposed to give things to females when they're trying to do things for themselves? They're trying to do the same things that we're capable of doing. We're built to do. We're made to do this. We're motivated to do it. We're motivated much more than you will ever be. And yet you're trying to do it yourself, and then you're acting. There's all this talk about lesbians and you don't need a male. Like, give me a break. You're such an idiot. Yeah, sure, you don't need a male, but you should have one. You should have a good male. So males should be able to relax after they've done difficult things, after they've competed and they've won and they've attracted females. They should be able to choose a female. And do whatever they want with them. That's the reward for being good. But doing things with all of them, like I said before, though, how do you even know exactly? And that's where, like I said, attractiveness is very easy to know. It's like if that person is the most attractive, then technically that's the first thing. That's the first step into them being the perfect option for you. It's like, are they the most attractive? Okay, if they're the most attractive, do they have the best personality? That's the second thing. Because those are simply the things that you notice first. You're not going to notice their personality is the best first. You're going to notice which one's the most attractive first. That's how it works. You see with your eyes, and for their personality, you have to actually talk to each of them for that. You don't have to talk to each of them to know which one's the most attractive. But guess what? Males should be able to do that. When they have earned a bunch of females, they should be able to do what they want with them. Not to abuse them, not to neglect them, definitely not. Definitely not. Those are the bad males. If they start neglecting those females and they start doing stupid things with those females, like saying they're not worth much, or they're simply not treating them correctly and not respecting them and not saying that they're beautiful and that they're worth something, then that's obviously a bad male. And obviously they don't deserve to have so many females wanting them. But the fact is, a male, when they have earned it, they should be able to enjoy it fully in the correct way. And that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying it in the correct way. And there is a correct way to find the best option, and you can look at looks, and you can decide from that, but that's not the best way, and that's never going to be the best way. If someone looks good, it doesn't mean much. It does mean something, but it doesn't mean much. You have to still look at the personality. Because if that female is an idiot, if that female is mentally ill and doesn't want to do what you want and doesn't actually listen to anything you say and is simply there because of one little factor or whatever nonsense they're there for, then they're not worth it. They're not deserving of you. So yes, there is that factor of that you have to actually test each female. And there is a limit. There's only so many females you can test, but males should be able to do that more than females because males have earned it more. And it's not degrading, it's not devaluing in any way to a male to do that because the fact is they earn it. They completely earn it, and it's the opposite for a female. They don't actually earn it. All they do is be attractive, and that's all they should do. Actually, that's all they should do. They don't need to be intelligent. They don't need to be incredibly innovative. They don't, because that's not what males want. That's not what males want. Males want a female that simply is looking good and has a good personality and is able to make them relax because the males are the ones meant to be innovative. The males are the ones that are meant to be doing things that are correct for society, not the females. The females are simply meant for the males to relax and to enjoy themselves and also to make things nicer in a more easy and emotional way. Males are meant to do the hard things, the difficult things. And I am being I'm using general terms here because there's so many things to think about. I'm not going to say the specific things. So you're simply going to have to work with that. Let's continue.
Growing up with phones and growing up with everything potentially being documented and recorded permanently that has
No.
Kind of building off, I think it was rooted in a healthy sense that we need to rewrite the rules of sexual behavior in our culture and to kind of right some of the wrongs of maybe a misogynistic baseline that existed.
You know what's funny? These people talk about misogyny, but the fact is, misandry is actually becoming more popular than misogyny. How about you simply look at the fact that there's so many lesbians, the fact that females are doing more than males. How about you look at that? I mean, you've already confirmed it. This video confirms it. And there's countless other things that confirm it. If females don't have as much of a use for males, then they're obviously going to start saying things that show that. They're going to start devaluing men. So yeah, that's misandry. It's quite funny because people throw these terms around and say misogyny, misandry, and well, they say misogyny, not misandry. They don't say misandry because they're a bunch of retards that want to focus on females all the time and not focus on the fact that males are being neglected. You know what's funny is females are getting way too much than they actually deserve, and males aren't even getting close to what they deserve. Not even close. And that's the reason people have so many divorces. That's the reason people argue so much in relationships. And you know what's funny? People say it's normal now to actually argue with your partner. Dude, you're such a retard. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. The only reason you argue with your partner is because that female is not submissive enough to submit to you. And you're not intelligent enough to prove them wrong. You're not manly enough. You're not masculine enough. You're not intelligent enough from you being masculine enough, and then you're not intelligent enough from you being motivated to be intelligent enough to actually prove them wrong, to prove yourself correct, and to be dominant enough to make them stop arguing with you. You're not enough, and they're not enough either. And that's the reason they say it's normal to argue. But the fact is, misogyny is not a problem anymore. Misogyny is literally, it's stupid to even mention at this point. It really is, because males are struggling more than females currently. And so you mentioning misogyny is quite annoying for a lot of males, and it should be annoying for a lot of males, because it's not that males are being misogynistic, it's that females are being misogynistic. And that females are actually devaluing males, and we're simply letting it happen because we're too stupid to actually fix it and to stop it from happening. But I'm not.
But then I could also see how it probably made people get freaked out and be like, whoa, I maybe just shouldn't be having sex, or porn or OnlyFans is a safer, lower stakes place to have sexual experiences than
around a woman. It makes sense that that would potentially give an opening for this kind of old school conservative, then I think second order effects from Me Too. You know, as somebody who talks to a lot of young men in my line of work, like I see it. I talk to young guys all the time who grew up during that period, and they're kind of just terrified to say or do anything around a woman. It makes sense that that would potentially.
No. No, they're not afraid to do things around a woman. They're not. No, it's not about them being afraid to do things around a woman. They're actually desperate. That's what it is. It's not being afraid, it's the fact of being desperate. And because of that, you're not relaxed. When you when you get near a woman, you start feeling things immediately, even though they didn't even do anything. They didn't even touch you. They didn't even do anything. They simply, them being there is enough. It's because they're desperate, not because they're afraid. And the reason they're desperate is because of the fact that there's a bunch of imbalances with males that you have been neglecting. Even though you've been talking to all these young people, you still have not found the truth. The truth is, males are being neglected. by females. And not only that, but they're being neglected by other males because there's people like you talking to them about this, telling them nonsense, and you're neglecting them. And you know, nothing's really going to change. Nothing is really going to change with these females. They're not going to change. The fact is, the females are too stupid to change it. They really are. They're too submissive. And I know it's not stupid for me to say this. Actually, it's perfectly understandable for me to say this. Females are not intelligent enough to change this. They're not dominant enough to change this. They're not good enough to change this. And that's quite obvious with how many retard females there are going along with it, ruining males in countless different ways, basically not giving them anything that they deserve and just treating them as objects and treating them as basically not even people. Like they can simply do whatever they want, leave them whenever they want. And if they do something wrong, they can say they're a terrible person and say they're not worth their time anymore, and they're not even going to give them a chance, even though that male could be addicted to that female, and they don't care at all. They simply, oh, you're a weirdo. I don't like you anymore. I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I'm going to go away now. I'm scared of you now. You're making me uncomfortable. Oh, no. Come on now. Do you really think those types of people, do you really think that females that are doing things like that, and females in general that are capable of doing something like that, or even justifying things like that, and females that think that females that are incredibly submissive and are okay with things like that, which a lot of them are, which basically all of them are, about 99% are. There's very few that are actually good enough to make a change. Do you really think that those very few or those 99% will actually make a change? And the fact is, it's a no. The fact is, the males will need to do it. And it makes sense. Why would the males not need to do it? The males are the dominant ones. The males are the ones that meant to do this type of stuff. So yeah, of course the males are going to do it. And we will do it. It's simply that we've been neglected so incredibly hard, and we've been mistreated so incredibly hard. We've been poisoned by chlorine in the water. We've been poisoned by countless different things. We're dealing with so much that it's not so simple to make a change, and that's the reason it's taking so long. It's because our brains are working slower than normal, and we're being countlessly influenced by other people, and we're confused. We're so confused. We have so many different opinions. We have so many different things that we think about that shouldn't be thought about, and some things that should be thought about, and then we're affected by a society to then maybe suppress those feelings or maybe influence them. And it's taking too long. It's taking too long, and your feelings and your motivations are dying. They're dying, and they're getting worse. You can only have so much motivation.
Essentially give an opening for this kind of old school conservative mind.
Be primarily concerned is she trustworthy? Do you communicate well? Is she fun to be around?
The more sort of open up our
Also probably going to be less interested in being monogamous in a marriage. Right, that sex is sacred and it should be something that is like highly.
Well, sex is sacred, but the fact is, males males understand that more than females do. And because of that, females should actually treat it more valuably. Because they don't fully understand it. They don't actually understand the consequences and the facts of how much it could affect you. Not only from the fact that you could get pregnant from it, not only from the fact that that male will then have more control over you and more influence on you, but that'll affect you mentally. But males can better control things like that. They can better control how much a female affects them, and they've always been able to. But the fact is, the reason that it seems otherwise now is because males are so incredibly desperate for females' attention that they don't know what to do, and they don't control themselves as much when they do finally get a female. And that's the reason some people say pussy whipped or whatever it's called. Pussy whipped. I think it's pussy whipped. I don't know. But that type of stuff. That's the reason people say that. It's because some males simply are so desperate that once they get that female, they sacrifice a lot of the things. But that's not correct. I'm not saying it's not correct to sacrifice things. I'm saying it's not correct to sacrifice the correct things. If things are correct, if things are they should stay how they are, then you should not sacrifice them. But what those things are is not what I'm talking about. What those things are is not what I'm going to say now, because those things are quite complicated, and also I've talked a bit about it in this video already, so you should go back and watch it.
That can be very intimidating for you. But rather than admitting that that's intimidating,
I need to finish this.
They will mostly say, I would prefer if she fell in love with another man. Whereas women will...
Yeah, buddy, whatever you say.
Porn use is selective, not...
Okay, I don't like this porn stuff. The thing is, porn is actually not the problem. And you said porn has done more damage to men than feminism has. That's complete garbage. And actually, one person actually came to talk to this person, and they actually said that porn is actually a result of feminism, which is somewhat true. Yeah, it is. It definitely is somewhat true. So you can't simply say that. You can't simply say that porn has done more damage to men than feminism has. So your claim is already wrong. Porn is part of feminism. Also, porn's not as bad as you think. I've watched porn since I was a young child. Young person, I'll say that. Since I was a young person, I started when I was very young. About 8 years old. Basically. Which is quite interesting to think about. I don't think I've ever told my parents that. I don't think so. Well, maybe I did. I don't know. Maybe at some point they knew about it, but whatever. It is what it is. But I started porn very young, and I watched it for a very long time. And I still do. But the fact is, it doesn't do as much damage as you think. And actually, it's much better than trying to get a female physically, because half the time the females reject you. And what does that do? That makes you more desperate. What do you not understand? If you're not getting a release, if you're not getting... Yeah, you orgasming actually is a factor to consider. If you're constantly horny and you're constantly thinking about females, then no, you're not going to treat a female the same way. You're not going to treat a female as a lot of the females expect you to treat them. You're going to treat them more like you want sex. And it's quite obvious why. It's because you're so desperate. So you need something to satisfy your your desperation. So yeah, porn is not bad. And it has not done damage. It's needed. I'm not talking about porn, in the fact of realistic porn, like people having sex. I'm talking about porn in general. Everything. Games, animated things. Yeah, that's about it, actually. Animated things and games. I guess you can categorize that in the same thing. Realistic porn and animated porn. Those are the two categories. And both have not done damage. They've only informed people. They've only informed young people. And you want to know the reason why? Actually, let me start that better. They've given the information, porn has given the information that parents have lacked to give. The thing is, sex is such a basic thing, it's such a primal thing, that it should be way more understood even before you're actually the age of 8. You should understand it already, because it's such a primal thing. Like, oh, mom and dad does that sometimes. Yeah, it's a primal thing. It's what you're going to do when you get older too, when you have a female too, or when you have a male too. You don't need to be afraid of it, and the reason you probably are afraid of it, and you're so incredibly anxious about it, and you're so incredibly difficult when you think about it, is because you simply are not normalized to it. And you know why you're not normalized to it? Is because you're not experiencing it. You're not experiencing it. That's from looking at it, that's from watching it online, or that's from doing it. So the problem isn't porn. And also, if you remove porn, it'll make things worse. Males will become more desperate. Females will probably do nothing about it. Probably keep rejecting them and probably keep doing nonsense, and the males will have to try to do more about it, and hopefully the females will adjust and try to do more for them. But it's not guaranteed. The males could do some erratic things. If porn is blocked for more people, and if it's age restricted more, I think it's already age restricted. It's starting to get age restricted. It already is, but it should really stop, because it's gonna affect people tremendously, and people don't even realize it. These older people, these people that are talking about it, there's this female here and this older guy, they have no clue what they're talking about. It's one of the only satisfactions a male can get. And of course, there is a factor of, yeah, you should try to earn that female, you should try to get her and everything. And I do understand that. But the fact is, when these females are playing so incredibly hard to get, what is the purpose then? Like, why should I even be trying to get you as much as you're expecting? Why should I even be doing so much? Why should I be focusing on you and somehow finding pleasure in making you mine when you play so incredibly hard and you play so incredibly difficult that it's incredibly difficult to even enjoy it? You have a bunch of guy friends, or you simply don't even understand what I'm saying to you, and you don't even actually like what I'm saying to you, even though you should like it because it makes perfect sense. Well, at least for me, of course. I say logical things only. I barely ever say preferential things. But for other males, it's the same way. It's that fact if you don't know what these females will want. And that's the whole purpose. That's the whole thing they think about, is that they want to get something, and if they don't get it, then they leave you. And that's why females are way too demanding. Way too demanding, way too preferential. And they should stop with it because it's affecting males in a much more negative way. And males wouldn't need porn so much if females would stop being like this. If females stop being like this, then definitely I would have a girlfriend by now. Easily. I would be outside maybe getting a girlfriend by now. But no, I'm not, because females are incredibly annoying to deal with. They're incredibly disappointing to deal with. They're not being correct. I don't want to please you. I don't want to do everything you want. I want you to do everything that I want. Because I've earned it. I don't want to appeal to you. I don't want to do everything that you want. I can do some things that you want. I can be nice and everything, but the fact is you have to be nice to me. I've gotten countless females. I've gotten basically every single female that I've met, which is quite a lot. I'll give you a number, like 100 females that I've talked to. Probably more or maybe less than that. Well, it's near there, I would say. 100 females that I've met from all my time with talking to females romantically and sexually. And all of them have wanted me to appeal to them. Every single one. And so, what does that show? And not only that I have met and talked to you romantically and sexually, I'm talking about listening to. I've listened to thousands of females at this point. Listened to. And heard their beliefs, and heard how they act, and heard how the males talk to them, and everything. I've heard it. I've heard it on Overwatch custom games. I go on Overwatch custom games, I listen, I sit there and relax. I listen. Something a lot of you struggle to do. But except I don't listen to actually do what it is they want and be like them. I listen to actually improve myself in a better way than them. I actually want to be better than them, not to be like them. I want to be better than them. And I see that the mistake that these females make is that they're too demanding. They're too preferential, and they don't actually give. They don't actually let males be dominant. And a lot of females actually dislike a male currently that's dominant, and that's incredibly stupid. Seriously, if you dislike a male that's dominant, you're an idiot. Because guess what? You're going to like it anyways. If you dislike a male that's dominant, you're going to like it anyways because you're gonna have sex and you're gonna get fucked. And guess what? That's dominant. That's submissive. And that's a male dominating you. That's how that works. So it's like what are you even fighting against? You're fighting against nothing. You're fighting against yourself.
Every man uses it, but every man is subjected to feminism in their society, in their workplace, in their home. You can choose autonomously not to watch porn.
You know what's funny? This guy said all the time, but then he says nothing and then doesn't do anything. Like, this guy's such a loser. He says and then continues to talk about nonsense, like saying porn has done more damage than fentanyl. He says It looks like he's actually realizing this. Like, look at his face. Watch his facial expression. See that? He was like, he opened his eyes for a second. He's like, wow, that's okay. That's interesting. And then doesn't say anything about it. I mean, you're an idiot, bro. That's all it is. You're an absolute idiot. You're not listening. And you don't even care. You're so desensitized to all of this. You don't actually care anymore. You're too old for this, dude. How about you retire? How about that?
No fault divorce, which is exposing children 70% more likelihood to being abused. Same with the women. Opening the welfare program for single mothers, which is increasing the crime rate, which is affecting all of society as a whole, not just men singularly.
If that were true,
Oh, here's this point again.
then you would expect to see male mental health decline in the most progressive countries in the world, right? There are countries.
You're such a retard. No, you wouldn't actually. No, you wouldn't expect to see that because you actually have a brain and well, you say you. I'm talking about me. I actually have a brain unlike you. So no, you don't. I don't expect to see that actually. You do because you think that somehow it's the exact same in other countries, but obviously it isn't because if it was the exact same in other countries, then we wouldn't even have other countries and we would all be one.
Then you would expect to see male mental health decline in the most progressive countries in the world, right?
It's funny how they don't even, like I said, they don't even understand. They said before, and the female talked about how feminism is something that every single male has to deal with and porn isn't. They said to that. They opened their eyes for it. They don't even say anything about it. They don't say anything about it, and they start talking about some garbage point that they think is somehow enough to justify them saying other things and saying that their claim is correct.
Countries of the world, and you would not
Their statement is correct. I mean, their statement.
see men struggling in non-feminist countries, right?
Yeah, whatever you say,
But
buddy.
it's, you know, if 11-year-olds were getting access to cigarettes and alcohol,
But the fact is, feminism is something that males have to deal with because of the fact that it's so incredibly obvious now. It's gotten to a point where it's so normal. And I'm not talking about the things of females being able to get jobs. I'm not talking about all that stuff. But the fact is, it's not even good that females can get jobs. It really isn't, because the males should be getting the jobs. The males should be doing the hard work, and that's what motivates them to be better. That's what makes them more valuable, though. That's what makes them actually valuable. The thing is, there should be some jobs for females and some jobs for males. And that's how it should be. And that's actually already how it is. Actually, now that I think about it, that's already how it is. Females go to some jobs more often than others, and then sometimes the females will go to a job that they're not meant to be in. They shouldn't be in that job. Sometimes they will go into a job that they shouldn't be in. Like, for example, construction work. Like, are you serious? construction, a female going into construction work. Come on now. No, absolutely not. It's absolute nonsense. Not only is that female going to look uglier from construction, from the fact of getting more muscles, but also they're going to mentally be uglier. Because they'll be around males more and they'll be learning from the males and they'll be more like a male. It's not difficult to understand, and if you don't understand it, you're an idiot. I keep saying this, but you're an idiot if you don't understand these things. You're simply an idiot. You're probably drinking chlorine too. You're probably going to school too. You're probably listening to all these people. Maybe even you're even a kid. Maybe even you're a young person that doesn't know these things. That doesn't understand, is simply listening to whatever society tells you. But this is more complicated than you think. And you don't know all the answers. And society has shown that they don't either. And that's the reason I'm here talking about it. Because there needs to be someone that makes a change. There needs to be someone that makes a difference to improve each other. If it's not going to be all this nonsense talking, then... And if it's not going to be all this debating, then... It's going to be someone like me that talks about it and actually is confident about what they're saying and actually is making sense about what they're saying. Feminism has absolutely ruined a lot of things about society. There are some things that need to happen for females. Definitely, I would say a bunch of females were struggling, but the fact is, it doesn't mean that it needed to be improved for females. It could simply mean that the males actually needed to be improved. And I say that feminism did a lot of things feminism could have fixed a lot of things, but the fact is, males could have done that too. And it was mainly because females were hurting and females were dealing with a lot of things, and they were struggling. But that could have been because the males were struggling too. They were not getting what they deserved. And now that feminism has happened, now females are starting to do more for themselves, and that means the males, they're still struggling, but the females are actually trying to compensate for the males and trying to compensate for the things that males are struggling with. And that's exactly what's going on currently. It doesn't mean that it's correct. It doesn't mean it's actually correct to be that way. It doesn't mean it should be an even split, like males should be doing the same amount as a female. That's simply not true. And it should not be true ever, because like I said, males should be doing more to show their value and to be competitive. And if you remove that, all you're doing is removing what we've done for thousands of years for no reason, only because you think it's correct and you think your emotions think it's correct. And all these females think it's correct because they have no clue what they're talking about. Because how are they ever going to understand it? They're a female. They're the one that's been dominated the entire time. How are they ever going to understand what a male does for competitiveness? for competition and does to be the best. How are they ever going to understand that? And how are you going to understand that? Mark Manson, is that his name? Yes. How are you ever going to understand that, Mark Manson? I don't think you ever will, because you're too submissive of a man.
Every day, would you make the same argument that, like, well, those 11-year-olds, they can choose not to?
Well,
Seeing that distinction between you two correctly?
My take on
Porn is causing damage. That's your claim.
we're very
I already talked about all this. Porn doesn't cause damage. Feminism causing way more
To your
damage.
point, though, about like kind of being hit from both sides, the leniency, it's
Porn is simply giving you the information that parents have not given you. It's that simple. And also, it's giving you the gratification that females are not giving you currently. And that's a problem with the females, not the problem with the males. And the fact of porn, it simply isn't.
Decrees what
It's the compensation from females not giving you what you deserve.
a sin and not. Obviously, you need some sort of holy book to do that. So access to anything, because I mean, there's
illicit videos, and every female you meet and talk to is like these statistics, or you know, this.
He said a bunch of other things in this, but I'm skipping over it. It is what it is.
Female recently. Because what you will discover is not every female you meet and talk to is like these statistics, or you know.
Well, it's the same. I could say the same thing for you, buddy. You're the one that's talking about feminism statistics and talking about other countries, and I could say the same thing for you. For you, what you said before about feminism being better in other countries or being okay in other countries, so why is it not here? Well, that's the same thing for you. You simply proved yourself, so you're contradicting yourself with saying that not every female is like the statistics, because it's the exact same like your statistics. Not every country will work with feminism.
Headlines that you've read on various news sites, like a very large part of this, I do think, is related to the lonely.
There's this feeling of sort of not being enough, and so
Oh, I wonder why. There's this feeling of not being enough, really. Yeah, I felt that countless times. Because females, like I said, are way too demanding. Like I said, I mean, how many times do I have to say this? I wonder why there's this random feeling of not feeling enough. Oh, yeah, because females have gotten way too demanding and way too valuable. Well, not valuable. They've gotten way too much access to things that males were meant to do. They were meant to be for males, because the fact is the males don't have much else to do. What else is a male going to give you? After I've talked about this at the start, what else is a male going to give you other than the fact of a job, other than the fact of money, other than the fact of dominating you? What else? Am I going to fight another male for you? Am I going to... What am I going to do? Build a house for you? No. Most of the times, no. I'm not talking about myself here, but the fact is, most males are not doing that, and that's simply how societies have evolved. And so you shouldn't you shouldn't simply neglect that fact that things have changed, and males don't have the same things to increase their value like they did before, like fighting another male, like simply dominating you or talking to you like they actually have more to offer you, because a lot of the males don't do that anymore, and that's for a reason, because a lot of the times that a female can do whatever they want. They can do the same thing. That's the exact reason in the past that males were actually able to do more. A female could not own a house or whatever. They could not do these different things. That was the reason for it, is to give males the actual value they deserved. And the same value they've earned naturally. But the fact is, we live in a society now where things are so incredibly modern and we have so much access to things that that's not so simple anymore. And that's the reason there was needing to be guidelines on that. There was needing to be regulation on that to actually still give males what they deserved and still give males the satisfaction of being more valuable than a female. Simply because it made them feel good. But now that we've given all these females so much rights and so much, all these different things, it has devalued men. It's a fact. And like I said, it didn't need to happen. It actually didn't. It actually didn't. The only problem is where there's some things that made zero sense not to have. Like for example, the right to an abortion. I feel like that's completely nonsense. I feel like, of course, there is a factor of that female should have understood what they were doing, but in the past, if you needed a male for these things, then obviously you can't simply say that that female had to keep that child, because that makes no sense, obviously. And you don't really need to be with a male that you don't like. You can. The thing is, I think in the past, it's very possible that males were being really stupid and that there was something going on with their intelligence, and that's the reason feminism started, is because, well, it wasn't even probably all of the males. I think still there was a lot of males that were still treating their females correctly, but there was a few males, or maybe a bunch of males, that were doing things wrong. And that's what started the feminism stuff. But the fact is, it's still nonsense. Because you're devaluing men. You're devaluing all men. Not simply the ones that did wrong. Not simply the ones that are the bad people. You're actually devaluing all men. And that's the reason males feel like they're less valuable today. And they will always feel less valuable because they are less valuable. They are. They simply are.
Reaction has been this phenomenon of looks max.
I need to go to the bathroom
I
soon.
would concede
Holy.
that in this day and age, right, where everything's driven through apps and Instagram and everything, like appearance is probably
Women care about more about looks than personality. Oof, that's a tough one. But it's true. It is true. They do, because they don't care as much as they should. Like I told you, females have gotten way too dominant. They've gotten way too demanding. They've gotten way too difficult. And so, yes, they're doing the exact same thing as what males have done for thousands of years, is that they look at whatever female is the most attractive and then they go for that female. That's how it works. That's how it's always worked. And it's perfectly normal. It's perfectly understandable. Of course you're going to want the most attractive female. It's quite obvious. The most attractive. Why would you not want the most attractive female? Doesn't make any sense. Why would you go for a worse female? Why would you want to reproduce with a worse female? It makes no sense.
Amplified made it. It's usually been, they've been together for 10 plus years, and both of them they've kind of let go of all of the facade and the like be valuable to other people as well. It discourages people from just kind of throwing things away or deciding that their life is better off in a different direction or whatever.
The thing they're talking about here is the fact of, I think, well, actually, let me think about this a bit first. I don't know exactly what they're talking about, so I'm not going to say much about it. But Mark actually said something about how they were letting their bodies get worse, and I think that's what this guy is talking about here. I think he's talking about how in a relationship, the male and female don't care as much because they're in love with each other. They don't care about how their body looks as much. I don't know if he is talking about that, so that's the reason I said I'm not sure, but Mark said something like that. But I think they're actually also trying to say that there is a lot of things to think about, because they said they disagree at the start of them talking about. They said they completely disagree. And they said it's the exact opposite. That maybe once you once you're normalized to someone's personality and you like their personality, then you're gonna focus on looks more, because looks is obviously still very important. They're both very important things, and the thing is, a female's personality or a male's personality can actually make them more attractive. So the fact is, they're both connected. They both are connected. But what you start with, the look that you have when you start that relationship is obviously very important, and it's going to be very important for the future to have that ability to improve the female, and also have the ability to be addicted to that male, or to be in love with that male fully and know that they're the best option, and basically you're not going to find anyone better.
Whatever it might be.
What's your reaction? Just kind of what
On looks and just assume that they are the only thing that matters, or the thing that matters more. He
really objectified and
Well, the thing that matters more is, in general, is personality. Doesn't mean that matters more is personality, but I'm not talking about personality. I'm actually talking about intelligence. Personality is a preferential thing, actually. So it's more about intelligence. That's what's actually the most important thing. And even if you disagree, that doesn't matter, because it's not about you. It's about what's correct. Because, like I said, it's not a preferential thing. Intelligence is the thing that people want in general. Personality, I would say, goes like this. Probably goes like this. Intelligence is the first thing, because if you're not intelligent enough to want a male or to want a female, then you're not worth it. And then the second thing that people will see, and to evaluate which option is the best, is looks. But what's more important? Yeah, it's personality. Definitely. Personality is still more important, because of the fact that personality can make someone look better. It can actually make them look better. I'm not talking about simply from feeling better. I'm simply saying like it actually makes them look better. It actually improves how they look, from them being happy and from them being satisfied with you. But yes, is it intelligence that makes someone look better, or is it personality that can make someone look better? I guess I would say both. Would I say both? Would I say both? Would I say both? Yeah, I would say both, of course. course. It's both. Intelligence and personality can make someone look better than they actually do currently.
And women's female beauty is really like, and the reaction isn't an embracing of maybe like mental health or therapy or things like this. What we're embracing is bone smashing and injecting Botox into our face and looking, in my opinion, not that it looks bad, but like actually a more feminine looking,
That's disgusting.
appearing.
Hey, I've talked about a lot. I think I've talked about most of the things. I definitely missed some things, but I'm quite satisfied. Not perfectly satisfied. I'll finish it off a bit once I'm done with this video.
Beyond that, in most cases.
Yeah, I wonder why they're not getting beyond that, retard. I wonder why. I wonder why. Again, I wonder why. Is it because the females are a bit too demanding, they're a bit too, I keep forgetting, I keep trying to find a better word. Mm. No, I don't know. I guess I could say a bit too selective. I guess I could say that, but that doesn't really mean what I want to mean. The level that you need to be to make a female want you is too high. That's what I'm trying to say. I mean.
And so I feel like that would be I'm guessing that would be kind of his response, or maybe one of these women are outperforming men drastically.
I wonder why. Yeah, because men aren't motivated anymore. Because females are not giving them what they deserve, and society isn't either. And guess what? Females are actually more likely to be taught better because the fact is they're more submissive. So whenever they go to class and everything, they're actually listening more than a male does, because a male is not meant to listen. A male is meant to tell others what to do.
Like actually the wage gap, the education gap, everything.
Well, guess what? That shouldn't be how it is. So the fact is that you're saying that is simply showing that you're an idiot and that you are part of the problem and you don't realize the problem. And you're simply stating these things that the facts, yeah, they are facts, but it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that men are worse than females. It doesn't mean that men should be in this situation. It doesn't mean any of that. It means that females are simply not where they should be. Quite obviously. Why should females be outperforming males at all? Give me a break.
Under 30 years old, men are lagging behind to a shocking degree.
Yeah, men are lagging behind. Wow, what a surprise. I'm not surprised. I'm really not. In this terrible society, I'm not surprised. What do you expect? How about you actually understand the problems and then you can actually start trying to justify these things like it's some type of correct thing or it's how it should be. It's simply that females are more intelligent than males or anything like that. They're not, buddy. They never will be. Because males have always dominated, they've always been competitive, and females have always been submissive, and they always will be. And guess what? Males are stronger than females. And that primal distinction is incredibly important because it's the center, it's the starting point for males being better than females. It's the absolute starting point because it starts when you're born. you start being better than a female when you're born. And what you do later is what changes that. If you're an idiot later, then you stop being better than a female, even though you're stronger than them. Even though you may have more muscles than they do. You stop being better than them because you're less intelligent than them because of countless different other reasons. But it doesn't mean that that's how it should be, or that's what we deserve, or it's because of the male's fault. It's because of everything that the male has done. No, it's actually because a lot of society, too. Society affects the males a lot. And a lot of the males are actually not innovating enough because of school teaching them not to innovate and to actually do whatever that society is telling them.
And so if you imagine you're a 23-year-old guy and every girl is like doing better than I am, so like maximize their appearance. And
one thing that's interesting is basically based on your assessment, the future is going to be very hot. Both men and women are going to be doing everything they can to. Just want to thank you for jumping into the arena. My only tip.
Okay. I'm very happy with how it turned out.
Great. And yeah, just on release day, engage, but don't engage too much. That's my only tip.
Okay.
Well, take care, Mark.
Give it time. Okay.
Subscribe to Jubilee.
Okay. So, let's get this retard off my screen. Absolute loser off my screen. And let's go look at something better. I got something better to show you. There's a lot of things I talked about. Not everything I said perfectly, like I said, but all of it does make sense. And even if some of the things that I've said before aren't the exact things I've said now, then it's simply that I've changed what I said. And if you want to understand it, you simply have to come to this part and understand it. Also, there's something going on with my volume of my voice on my OBS software. It's going into the red, so I need to understand what's going on there. If I'm talking too loud or if I'm talking correctly. I don't know if I'm talking too loud. I don't know if there's like some type of cap that's going on with it or something like that. I don't know what's going on. It's going into the red though, but what I do know is that I'm only doing this because it seems like I need to increase my volume on my videos. I've looked at my videos and I've checked on my phone. The volume level simply does not seem correct. And so that's the reason I've changed it. But I could change it back. I could change it and reduce the volume if it starts doing nonsense. And I'll probably look back at this at about 2 hours, 54 minutes. I'll look back at this point and see if it's doing nonsense, if it's starting to cut out like now. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it sounds. We'll see if it sounds good or if it sounds bad or if it starts doing stupid things at all. But this is what I wanted to show you while I finish this video. This is the last point of the video. Last things I'm going to say before this video is done. Before I'm satisfied. Before I can say I've done enough. And this loser that has annoyed me and this person that has annoyed me. I keep calling them a loser. I keep calling them a retard. But I don't need to. I've said enough. I've said it enough times. This person that keeps annoying me. That has annoyed me, I mean. They annoyed me in that video and they made me want to make this video. Come on. It should show the game soon. It's taken 1.5 years. It's taken 20 years. Come on, game. Come on, OBS. Let's see if that fixes it. Let's see if that works. Might fix it. I will actually call them a loser and call them a retard more, but the fact is I don't want to do it every single time because it'll devalue it, so I'm not going to. That's the reason I said that. Ah, and there it is. Good. Okay, it's all working. And yes, I will be playing the MBTB today, and I'll be doing Crucible missions. I have a new build, so this is the main thing I wanted to do. This is the main thing that... The main reason I wanted to play the MBTB, and this is the main thing that is important about it now. The MBTB, and that's the reason I think this tank will be significantly better. The accuracy is going to be improved tremendously with this. I added this to it, and I also added Bond vertical stabilizer. So it's up there with the accuracy now. It really is, because it didn't have rotation mechanism at all before. All it had was hardening. So now it has an additional 15% reduction in dispersion. So it's going to feel quite good now, I would say. And also the double shot is going to feel quite good. The aiming speed should be much better now. And I've even... I think I maybe did a little bit of adjustment here too, the crew perks. I don't know exactly, but still, this tank should be much better now. I'm quite excited to play it, but that's for after this video and once I go use the bathroom. So let's finish this video now. You want to know the problems with the society currently and the problem with males? The problem with males is that they're not having a good time. They're not having fun. They're doing things that are boring, and then the females are not rewarding them. And then you're wondering, what's the problem? Oh, it's all these, it's porn, it's not feminism, it's all this other stuff. It's the fact of males not being good enough. No, males are good enough because guess what? They're naturally good enough. Do you think males in the past were incredibly intelligent and they're incredibly good because they simply were trying to be that way? No, they actually did it naturally. It was natural to them. But the fact is, things have gotten so incredibly overcomplicated in society now that people actually have to think about countless different things. And especially because of all of these different factors to consider, like school and chlorine in the water and feminism and emotions and all this preferences. I keep saying chlorine in the water, but like I said, chlorine in the water does affect your brain, and alcohol does too. There's also the fact of foods affecting your brain, affecting how you think and how you feel. There's also the fact of unathletic people. There's a lot of unathletic people and a lot of overweight people, and somehow there's a lot of people actually trying to justify people being overweight. It's like, come on, dude, get it together. What is with you all, you losers? And it simply shows the mental illness that all of you have, that countless people have. Not all of you watching, not every single person of you watching has this, but I bet that a lot of people that watch this, and a lot of people that in general simply have a mental illness because of the fact they think about this type of stuff and they actually think that it's actually correct and it has some logic to it when it obviously doesn't. All it has is emotion to it. All it has is personal preference. It doesn't have any logic to it because the fact is, we've done things for thousands of years. That is the most logical thing because we've optimized for it. We've optimized our bodies for it. Gay people should not be a thing. We should not be gay at all. Why do you think? Because we've optimized for it. We've optimized our bodies to be male and female, not male and male, and not girl and girl. Female and female. And yet, there's so many things like that somehow we're questioning and somehow we're debating. And it's nonsense. And it only shows your mental illness. And you need to understand that you actually do have a mental illness, because if you don't, you will never improve it. And that's something that a lot of therapists understand. If you don't understand the problem, then you can't improve it. Yeah, that's a fact. And that's the same for this. You have a mental illness. You need to understand the problem. If you don't, you're going to stay that way. And I would say, if you're watching this video now, it's time to wake up. And it's time to do better in society. For yourself, because there's a lot of things to offer. There's a lot of things you can get in life. And even if you feel like you're satisfied now, imagine what you could feel like if you were even more satisfied. And I'm not talking about simply money. There's more to life than money. A lot of males have been relying on money to satisfy them because the females aren't doing it. The females are not satisfying anymore. They're lacking. And the males are lacking because of the fact that there's so many stupid things in society that are demotivating them. There's so many things. And it's annoying that I have to talk about this. It's very annoying that people will not improve themselves without me having to talk about this. Because it's so incredibly obvious, and somehow all these mentally ill people justify otherwise. Justify the opposite of what is correct. And it's because they're mentally ill. That's the reason they justify it. Not because they're intelligent, not because they actually understand what is correct. It's because they're mentally ill and they prefer things instead of actually understand them. You need to understand the things, and then you can know what is correct. If you don't understand it, then it's simply about preference. A lot of the things I said, I do understand them, actually. I do understand a lot of the things I said. And you can see that as the more I talk about it. I literally say more about it all the time. This entire time I've been talking about these things. I've said more about them as I've talked about them. And if you somehow assume otherwise and assume that I have zero information, I'm simply saying things like stupid things, which a lot of people would probably assume because of the fact that a lot of people are stupid, then you simply are not listening enough and you're assuming too much. You need to stop with the assumptions and you need to look at what I'm saying and try to understand it and realize that what you're doing is wrong. What you're doing doesn't do anything. And that's the exact reason nothing has happened for all this time. Why do you think nothing has happened? Is because you're doing the same thing over and over again. You're going insane. It's time to change something. It is. And what do you think needs to be changed? There obviously is something that needs to be changed. And it has to be something huge. Because obviously something like this does not simply happen from porn. Like, come on. Are you stupid? Porn is not the cause for all of this. And it isn't a cause at all. You think males can't deal with porn? Come on now. Males have dealt with monsters, have dealt with pain, have dealt with dehydration, have dealt with suffering that a female could never have endured, or females could never have endured. And you think we can't deal with porn? Come on now. The fact is, females are very attractive and they're very nice to have, but we have always dealt with them. We have always dealt with females. And yes, we can deal with them in porn. So you all need to stop with the nonsense and get it together. Because you're not intelligent. And you should really stop acting like it. You should stop acting like it. And you should start realizing some things yourself instead of looking at statistics. And instead of relying on so many others for things. All you need to do is think to yourself. As a male. And females, I don't want to hear your opinion. Really, I really don't. Because currently, a lot of you don't understand anything about this. And about a lot of things in general. So I don't want to hear it. If you have something good to say about this, then you can say it. But if you have something bad to say, don't talk. Because you are literally only causing more males to suffer. And it's not correct. We deserve better than this. We deserve so much better than this. And you're so oblivious to it. All you females are so oblivious to what you're doing to males. All this rejection that you give to males all the time. All the difficulties you give a male and you don't even let them talk to you. And it makes them all desperate. So the fact is, you think that you need to reject them because they're so desperate. Well, guess what? The fact is, you rejecting them is actually not helping. It's making them more desperate. They're going to get worse. It's going to stay the same, if not getting worse. If you keep rejecting them, if you keep not giving them the time, if you keep not giving them chances, and you keep just removing them whenever you feel like it. They need some help. They need some support. They need some dedication. If you do not give them that, they will never be what you want. They will never improve. They will never be the ideal person for you if you do not motivate them. The ideal male for you, they will never be that unless you motivate them and give them the opportunity to feel good and to get that constant urge away, that constant want for relaxation or feeling like you've succeeded finally. And you're valuable. And they're not going to simply get it from you telling them that. Okay, that's not how it works. Words are not the same thing as actions, and you should know that. If you think a male is valuable, then simply give them the chance to have an effect on you. And that includes romantically and sexually. I'm not saying you should be sexual with them. I'm not saying you should be romantic with them. I'm saying you should give them the chance and stop trying to enforce limitations on them. You should stop trying to say, oh, I'm uncomfortable. You're making me uncomfortable. You should adapt. Stop being uncomfortable then. Because all you're going to get is more submissive males and more stupid males that simply act funny and nice, and that's all they have to offer. Or you're going to simply get males that are manipulating you to try to get what they want, and then once they do, then they're going to act different. That's all you're going to get. And that's the reason I was talking about transactional before, is I was trying to say it in a more simple way, but I should have actually been saying it like this. Because it explains more. I don't need to use stupid words like transactional and nonsense like that. I simply used it because that's the word they used, and I wanted to make it more understandable for you, but that wasn't correct. I need to say exactly how it is. I'm done now. Think about what I've said. It means a lot. And there is a lot of things to think about. And yes, there is some difficult things that I've said. I know that for a fact. Like, at the start, I was saying a lot of difficult things, I know. But there's much more to think about than you think. And I'm not a bad person for saying those things. And males do deserve better than this. We've been neglected heavily. And I'm not talking about only myself. I'm talking about everyone. It's quite obvious. If you do not see it, you are oblivious. Or you simply don't care. Or you're a female. Most females don't understand, but like I said, some females do. You should realize, though, there is a lot of things to realize. So you should realize them. And I hope you do. Because you're not only affecting yourself, but you're also affecting me. Obviously, because I'm part of society.